going on? What is popping, YouTube world? My name is Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. I appreciate you guys for watching today. Be sure to smash this like button right about now, as it does help these videos get to the public and the channel to grow overall. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly, and almost every single day if I can, and turn on post notifications too, so you do not miss a single one of those videos that I post. It's only right, you guys. Let's talk about NFL teams on the rise, guys, because there's a lot of really good NFL teams right now, but there are also some NFL teams that don't necessarily have a great record, but there are a boatload of teams that I feel next year can make a huge leap in improvement, and there's some really good teams on the rise in the NFL right now. Now, I'm going to talk about the 4 teams heading into next year that if I'm a fan of this team in the offseason, I got to be feeling really excited, and I would have a whole lot of hope that my team can turn things around next year and become better and potentially maybe make the playoffs, dare I say. Now, I could talk about the Buffalo Bills, but I do believe the Buffalo Bills have arrived. They're no longer a rising NFL team. Of course, they're still rising up into ascension and potentially a Super Bowl contender next year, but they've arrived, guys. They're going to be an 11 or 12 win team this year. They potentially still could win their division over the Patriots, which is crazy. They figured out their coach. I believe Josh Allen's the future. Their defense is already elite, and I believe they're about 1 or 2 pieces away. Depending on how their schedule lands next year, they can win the Super Bowl next year, okay? The Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, they have some nice parts that I like. I like the fact that Brian Flores, their head coach, has had these guys playing hard and competing. However, I just don't think they have the talent right now for me to completely say, hey, this team's going to turn things around immediately next year. I'm not quite there with the Dolphins yet. I actually do believe the Washington Redskins are on the upward trend, because I think the Redskins, they've been drafting pretty well. They've drafted some good solid wide receivers. I think Dwayne Haskins has a boatload of talent. However, I do want to see him continue to progress. I haven't seen the amount of flashes this year that I would like to see from Haskins, but again, he's only played 1 year in college. Give him some time. I think the Redskins, particularly up front, have drafted pretty well. I like their parts on defense. However, their front office for me is always going to be a question. I'm never going to completely wrap my arms around Daniel Snyder and Bruce Allen. They're not very well run, and also they're going to have a new head coach next year, so I don't know what's going to happen there, but I think the Redskins, there's some bright spots there potentially. However, there are 4 teams on the rise that I want to talk about today that I believe next year are definitely going to be improved, okay? Those teams are the Buccaneers, the Raiders, the Denver Broncos, and the Arizona Cardinals, okay? Those are the 4 teams next year that I would not be shocked if they're in the playoffs, and I would not be shocked if they're around 500 next year, okay? Let's start with the Buccaneers, okay? Listen, this offense is already set in place. Before I talk about the offense, I want to talk about Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. Bruce Arians has definitely changed the culture of this team. They're competing a lot harder than they were last year. They're a lot more well coached, and Todd Bowles, the defense is not where I want it to be yet, but you can clearly see from last year to this year, this defense has shown major improvements, and Todd Bowles has really helped turn that around. Okay, this is the number 1 passing offense in football right now. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are really good wide receivers. Mike Evans is an elite wide receiver. Chris Godwin, at worst, is a number 2 wide receiver. And Jameis Winston, listen, I know Jameis Winston turns the football over a lot, guys. I know, but while there is some bad that comes with Jameis Winston, boy, there's a whole lot of good, guys. This guy is on pace to throw for 5,000 passing yards this year. He already has 30 touchdown passes, and there's still 2 games left to be played. And let's not forget, guys, Jameis Winston is still relatively young. He's still 25 years old. There's a level he can still tap into and get better. You know, quarterbacks usually around age 27 to 34 is when they hit their prime peak windows. And Jameis Winston, he's on the upward trend. Now, I do believe Jameis Winston, you can win big with him. He just needs to cut down the turnovers. However, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a bad secondary and a bad offensive line. I do firmly believe that you cannot consistently compete in the NFL if you have both a bad secondary and a bad offensive line. They still need to improve those areas. They can improve that through the draft, but either way, I gotta say, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I would not be shocked if they win 9 or 10 games next year. They're already at, I believe, 7 wins right now. They're on the upward trend, okay? The Oakland Raiders, in my opinion, are up next. Now, I do believe they're just by default on an upward climb just because of their division, the division they're going to play in year after year because Patrick Mahomes is in their division. You know, it's pretty much a guarantee that Russell Wilson is going to run the NFC West. It's pretty much a guarantee that Aaron Rodgers, as long as he's in the NFC North, the Packers are probably going to run that division. Same with Patrick Mahomes. If you have a special quarterback in a division, Patrick Mahomes more than likely is going to win that division most years. But that doesn't take away from what the Raiders are doing, man. The Raiders, man, their 2019 draft, they hit out of the park, okay? They hit that draft out of the park. Clelin Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Max Crosby, all these players, they drafted roughly 4, 5, 6, 7 players that can play and have made immediate impacts to their team, both on offense and defense. Not to mention their stud safety, Jonathan Abraham, a guy they were really hyped about. He was out for the year. He got injured in the first game of the season. He's going to come back next year. They went out in the offseason. They fixed the offensive line by adding Trent Brown. Their secondary, the thing about the Raiders that holds me back is they lack players in the secondary to make plays. And they also lack a true number one wide receiver. I think Darren Waller is good. He's a great tight end. I think Terrell Williams is a number 2 wide receiver. However, they need to get an established number 1 wide receiver and continue to build up their secondary. The pass rush still could use a little bit of an upgrade, but I like what I see from Clelin Ferrell. I like what I see from Max Crosby. Secondary should be the focus coming into the offseason this year. I do believe with the amount of draft picks they're going to have this upcoming draft, they're going to have multiple first-round picks once again so they can continue to build their team. You know, Derek Carr, he's having one of his best seasons yet, completing 70% of his passes, a 99 passer rating. I don't know if Derek Carr will ever ascend to elite status, but I think you can continue to win consistently with him. I just don't know if he'll ever be able to get you over the top. But again, Derek Carr, he's a pretty good quarterback. And the thing I like about Jon Gruden is he's turned around the culture of the Oakland Raiders. He's a fun guy. The players like playing for him. He's creative offensively. And I think Jon Gruden is definitely the coach of their future. And if I'm a Raiders fan, I like what I'm seeing. And I believe next year, my future is going to, from next year forward, the Raiders' future is going to be pretty bright. Okay. Up next, I got to go with the Denver Broncos as one of the more upcoming teams in the league. Listen, the Broncos have always historically have had really good defenses, above average wide receivers, above average running backs, and a solid infrastructure, okay? What have they lacked since Peyton Manning retired, okay? What have they lacked? A quarterback. And I believe Drew Lock can be that guy. Drew Lock has a boatload of potential, guys. This guy has a live arm. He's big, he's strong, he's mobile, and he's coachable too. I think that's the key because Drew Lock, he can still continue to get better. I really like Drew Lock coming out of Missouri because I saw him elevate below average wide receivers and below average offensive lines in college. Okay, and I think he can do that in the NFL too. There's still some areas Drew Lock needs to improve on. He's still a rookie, but again, there's a whole lot to like with Drew Lock. You can clearly see this guy has elite arm level talent, okay? Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are 2 really good running backs that they have right there. And guys, in the NFL, sometimes it's not the fact that you lose, it's about how you lose in the NFL, okay? You know, if you're losing by 20 points each week, I have no hope for you. However, the Broncos, they're losing close games. And that is mainly with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. Joe Flacco is a terrible starting quarterback. This guy is not very good. Drew Lock is clearly the answer and the long-time future of the Broncos at quarterback. I really like Courtland Sutton. To me, he can be a top 10 wide receiver if he continues to develop. I really like Noah Fant. I like Deshaun Hamilton. They got above average weapons. They've always had a good defense. And let's not forget, guys, Bradley Chubb, their stud pass rusher, who tore his ACL earlier in the year, he's gonna be back all next year to pair with Von Miller. If I'm a Broncos fan, I know my division is tough, along with the Raiders and the Chiefs, and even the Chargers, who potentially if they get a quarterback next year, can really compete. I think the Broncos can really make some noise next year. They are definitely one of the 4 upcoming teams. And lastly, I gotta go with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I want to start off by talking about Kyler Murray before anything else, because Kyler Murray, listen, I said it in the offseason, I said it time and time again, Kyler Murray to me was the best combination of a runner and a thrower that the draft had ever seen. And that was my humble opinion. Even better than Lamar Jackson coming out of college, guys. Yes, I firmly believe that, okay? And I got to tell you, Kyler Murray, there might not be a quarterback that throws a more tighter spiral than Kyler Murray. His deep ball is really good. He's mobile, and in today's game, it's kind of obvious, guys. You kind of have to be mobile in today's NFL if you want to be a really good starting quarterback. You know, you got Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. You know, even the great elite pocket passers. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. They all can move, and if you're not able to move, you better be Tom Brady and you better be Drew Brees, okay? And as far as reading defenses and picking apart defenses, you know, as far as your throwing ability, okay? Kyler Murray, to me, once you get a real team around him, I believe he can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He makes so many good decisions. He throws a great touch, anticipation, great accuracy. And guys, I saw Kyler Murray face the San Francisco 49ers twice, and he gave them fits. Aaron Rodgers couldn't even figure out the San Francisco 49ers, okay? I saw Kyler Murray go up against the Baltimore Ravens and give them fits, guys. Kyler Murray is by far the future of the Cardinals at quarterback, and I really do firmly believe once he gets a real team around him, he can win a league MVP. That's how highly I feel about Kyler Murray, okay? Not to mention Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury comes in. I had questions about him as a head coach, but I think Cliff Kingsbury this year so far has answered the bell. I think Cliff Kingsbury is a better NFL head coach than a college coach, because in college you have to recruit, you have to get the players that you want in order to fit your system. And I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is a great recruiter. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think he still needs to continue to get better as a head coach. But again, I think Cliff Kingsbury has changed the culture. He's come with fun, creative ideas. They're running the air raid offense. And I think that Cliff Kingsbury, like I said, he's changed the culture in Arizona. You know, Arizona needs to continue to build up their offensive line. They need to continue to build their defense. However, they're a 4-win team right now. They're competitive. You know, they play hard, guys. And I see the progression on defense. I see the progression on offense. And Kyler Murray, let's not forget, guys, Kyler Murray is making really good decisions and playing well with virtually no wide receivers and no offensive line. He's virtually working with a washed-up old Larry Fitzgerald, and Christian Kirk is his best wide receivers, okay? Once they get the offensive line fixed, once they get the defense fixed, it's going to be hard to compete in that division just because Russell Wilson is in that division every year. Russell Wilson, when you have Russell Wilson on your team, it's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like Tom Brady. It's kind of like all these good quarterbacks. You're pretty much guaranteed to win 10 games each year just off the quarterback alone. I think San Francisco has a real roster. The Rams still have elite players, but again, if I'm a Cardinals fan, I like what I see from Kyler Murray, and I think this Cardinals team is on the upward trend. So, that's pretty much my list right there. I believe that teams like the Redskins, teams like the Dolphins, there's something to be excited about, but again, I don't quite know. I think the Buffalo Bills are definitely on the upward trend. I believe once Tom Brady retires, they're going to run that division. But however, I believe the Buffalo Bills have arrived. I think the Buffalo Bills next year could be a Super Bowl team. But these 4 teams next year, keep your eye on these 4 teams as far as potentially being contenders and new playoff teams, okay? Look out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Oakland Raiders, the Denver Broncos, and the Arizona Cardinals next year to improve from a year ago. Be sure to comment where you agree with me and disagree with me. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. A fun fact about me is I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world. I want to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. Kind of like Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. You get the point. Okay, I want to do sports, television, and radio for a full living once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. So the best thing you guys can do to just help me continue to grow as a young broadcaster is to just share this channel with all your friends, because potentially if this channel really gets somewhere, I want to start my own network, okay? You know, or potentially if it doesn't, you know, or if I fall a little bit short, I want to go into a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. So the best thing you guys can do to just flat out just help me grow as a broadcaster, help me learn, you know, get other people hip to this channel, you know, just share this channel with all your friends, share this channel on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And once again, guys, just share this channel with everyone you know. Get everyone hipped and watching these videos. Get my voice out there and heard. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. It's been your boy, Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today. I really do. Have a God blessed day. Stay motivated, you guys, and I'm out.